Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining me live. We are going to go over our two areas of severe weather and what they can mean for you guys. Just please bear with me, guys. I'm just getting started here. Looks like our greatest severe weather threat today is going to be in New York. Watch this real quick here. Morning, everybody. Two people watching. We have our severe weather briefing this morning. We're going to look at all of our conditions. We do have a severe wind and hail threat today, but also a 5% tornado risk for parts of New York and Pennsylvania. So we're going to take a look at that. So there is that chance that from Buffalo, Rochester, Watertown, Pittsburgh, that we could have that tornado threat. It could extend into very, very extreme eastern parts of Ohio and maybe even into extreme parts of West Virginia. So, but we also have that 30% chance for damaging wind and a 15% hash mark for large damaging hail, possibly over 2 inch for areas around Pittsburgh. So I forgot to change that. We'll have to. I forgot to change the title on it, but it's alright. It's not a big deal. I do appreciate everybody joining me. Really, I'm appreciative of everybody who joined up yesterday. It was a very stressful event to go through. Large tornado outbreak for Wisconsin yesterday, and I was very tired. I just slept for about 10 hours, so I'm fully up and rested as if this morning. I'm going to take that so it's not to freak anybody out. That's not accurate. So I'm going to go ahead and save that. Hey, good morning, Bloomfield Farm. Hope you're having a good morning so far. We do have that severe weather threat, like I said, Pennsylvania and New York. So we're going to continue. I'm just trying to load in the tags so people in these areas can know if they watch this later if there is a severe weather outbreak for their area possible today. And we're going to go over the entire threat and to make sure that people are aware of the current things that could happen. It looks like it's going to be more upscale supercell development, but there is that 5% chance that tornadoes can form. So we're going to really seriously watch out for that. I think these storms are probably going to start out in probably central New York, also into east central PA, but we're going to definitely have to watch these conditions and just. It's not letting me to copy this for some odd reason. Let's refresh our scores. Save this. Really do appreciate everybody joining me up so far. I really do appreciate it. And we're continuing to take a look at all of our risks. The thing about this software, it doesn't allow me to put tags into my videos. So I have to manually go in once I'm already live. Which just takes time out of everybody trying to get their information. But I have you can see the areas highlighted here in orange over New York. Also, another severe weather outbreak possible for areas from Lincoln, Nebraska to St. Louis, Missouri, even parts of maybe southern Illinois. We've been in an incredibly active weather pattern. Every single day, it's been large hail reports, a lot of wind damage reports, and tornadoes. This year has been really the year for damaging winds. Just seen some incredible thunderstorms this year. Don't think it's going to be New York City per se. Maybe very off chance that it could be New York City, but they're going to be under a marginal to general thunderstorm risk. So I don't think anything severe that can happen, but we're going to continue to watch these conditions here. So let's go over our entire thread. We're only about 10 minutes into this right now, going through the coverage here. Our greatest risk for severe weather is going to get these highlighted here. And this will give you a good example. Kind of these areas. So the orange here, Rochester, Pittsburgh, Altoona, State College, possibly into Scranton. This is going to be our highest area here for hail, damaging winds, and that isolated tornado risk. So let's go through our forecast here and get some timing for you guys, find out when these storms could possibly come into your area. There's some thunderstorms that start to pop off here in Canada, probably around noon, that are going to make their way eastward into maybe extreme parts of upstate New York. Very unsettled area today, where we're going to have a lot of moisture availability with a very weak capping mechanism. So there isn't going to be much holding these storms back from explosive upscale growth. And usually that it will warrant. So our first storms really start to fire off near Oswego in upstate New York, just south of Watertown, north of Syracuse. These are going to be very strong hail producers and damaging wind. That's going to be about 2 o'clock this afternoon. And then these storms really start to fire off along this line here from Albany. I would say these are probably going to be more on the severe risk. Also around here up in upstate New York. And that's going to be around 8 p.m. So, but I think our biggest severe weather threat, and we'll go back here to about 3. So 2 o'clock, these storms fire off near Watertown. They're going to continue to be explosive, possibly large hail producers to the north of Attica and Watertown. We also have some of this upscale growth here, Ithaca and north of Jamestown. Also up here in Canada. Even some storms here forming near Hagerstown. There is going to be that slight risk that goes into the Washington, D.C. area. A strong storm cannot be ruled out, though I think the biggest threat for large damaging hail is going to be the greatest risk, and damaging wind. We get into about 4 o'clock. These storms are going to be just to the south of Rochester, Ithaca. Very, very large damaging hail and damaging winds. So some of the hail could be upwards of 3 inches, 2 to 3 inches. So definitely has that present risk. I will be covering this live after about 4 o'clock. I got to get to work today. I've taken the last 2 days off to go over these severe weather threats. Five o'clock, we're looking at these storms now pushing off towards Albany, Vestal, Towanda in Pennsylvania. These are going to continue to have some very strong winds and some possible hail. Getting up to that 8 o'clock hour, these start to really form into a line. Some of these could be coming towards Hartford, Connecticut late in the evening, but I think the severe risk will die down with the daytime heating, though we could have some continued strong storms around Scranton, Pennsylvania, going towards Middletown around 10 o'clock. So we'll have to keep a watch out for that. Thank you so much, guys, for the 4 people in here. I do appreciate your guys' support. We're also going to have this line segment that develops here. We're going to time this out as well. There is going to be that severe weather threat for parts of Nebraska to southern Illinois. Also, I think it's going to be a large damaging hail and wind threat, but there is a 2% chance for tornadoes today in that area. We're going to really take a look here. Maybe some storms forming around Dayton this afternoon, late in the afternoon, around 7, in between 6 and 7 o'clock. These storms don't really begin to fire off until after 11 p.m. here in this area. So this is going to be a late night threat into the early morning hours. Got to get this shared out. Thank you. Keep up the good work. Hey, boy, man, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. We're gonna did forget to share this out myself. Just give me a second, guys, because I do have a lot of friends in New York, and I have a couple of friends in PA. So, oh great, one of these trolls going on. Okay, you got that. We're still looking at all the threads here this morning. I'm going to be going over both the models and see what kind of agreements we have around timing, threats. Like I said, I think our major threat today is going to be more upscale thunderstorms, meaning that these aren't going to be producing, it would be heavy tornado producers, thank God, but they are going to be large hail and damaging wind, even though there is that threat that we might have 1 or 2 tornadoes that could occur in these areas, though it's going to be an incredibly low risk, anywhere from about 2 to 5%. What I call a non-zero tornado threat. Good to hear that the risk is low today. Yeah, especially after yesterday, where we had much higher risk for severe weather. I don't know why this isn't saving, but I'm trying to do my best here. I'm trying to get these updates out. Alright, so I got this shared out to quite a bit of people as they're waking up. They're seeing these messages, and should be getting some more people in here. Yeah, so low tornado risk today. These storms here in the Midwest, for parts of Nebraska, maybe even North Kansas, Kansas City could definitely be affected by this afternoon. It looks like it's going to be more of a damaging wind and hail threat. Maybe early on, we start to get more of a threat for hail and maybe an isolated tornado. But it looks like they're going to be cluster storms. Really starts to become more of a damaging wind event for around Hannibal, Missouri. So there can definitely be, this severe weather threat does push further south towards Louisiana, possibly into Arkansas, and maybe even into Tennessee and Kentucky by tomorrow morning. So we're going to have to watch out for that too early in the morning as that continues to possibly push further south. I think it should start to diminish, but there could be some strong storms, and it looks like they start to refire up in the afternoon hours for possibly into Virginia and Alabama. So there is that look too. Um, Definitely could be some large damaging hail isolated with some of these storms here in South Georgia around Albany, also into parts of North Carolina in the afternoon, Virginia. Definitely could be seeing that severe weather threat tomorrow. Hey, look, is this some rain near Texas? That is... God, that would be amazing if we could see some rain near Texas. But knowing us, it is not going to be enough of a risk for me to even think about going to go take a look at it. So let's get back up here to New York, Pennsylvania, and we're going to take a look at both of our forecast models and kind of figure out if we can get some agreements on some times, what severity level could be, and get into detail here. I'm going to take a look at our NAM 3K model. This was a little bit ago, so those storm trailing. This is about the 8 o'clock feed here. I don't think these storms are really going to fire up probably until about, the storms are going to probably fire up here around Jamestown, Smethport, Cornell, maybe south of Rochester, probably around 2 o'clock. And some of these, some of this line, and this could also go towards parts of Youngstown and Ohio as well. I think the strongest of the severe weather is going to be up here in New York. We could get some isolated supercells that develop up in New York and Pennsylvania that could be relatively strong. Central Plains, we'll look at that here again in just a second. I think this becomes more of a damaging wind and hail threat for parts of central Pennsylvania around 5 o'clock. This is just according to this model. And that's going to continue to go down here south towards possibly into parts of Maryland, maybe even Virginia, be a severe damaging wind and hail threat, maybe even into parts of West Virginia. So that'll be around 7. So the threat's going to begin at 2. I think it's going to continue until probably around 8, 9 o'clock, and then diminish by the time it gets closer to DC around 9 o'clock. So yeah, it should be diminishing around 8 or 9 o'clock for parts of Pennsylvania. We'll take a look back here at the plains. Once again, this is going to be for parts of Lincoln, Nebraska, all the way to maybe southern Illinois, central and southern Illinois. So we'll take a look here at our severe weather threat this morning. This is already just kind of behind here on the NAM 3. Our thunderstorms aren't really going to start firing off until later in the afternoon, and this is going to start on the Kansas-Nebraska line near Geneva, Nebraska, Belleville, Kansas, around 8 o'clock. It looks like it's going to be more of like a line segment type thunderstorm event, so we are getting some agreements of some storms firing off around 8 in Nebraska and Kansas on both models. This will be coming into Beatrice. This could be some damaging wind and hail threat. think it's going to be a very minimal tornado threat here, but there is a 2% chance. It's what I call a non-zero tornado threat. This really becomes a damaging wind event here. Going to be pushing this general direction. Also another cluster of storms here in Missouri. That's going to be around 11 o'clock at night. It really becomes disorganized as it comes towards St. Louis, but could still be packing some dangerous winds in this line here. Could be gusty 60, 70 mile an hour, have some isolated large hail potential. Come 5 a.m. For around St. Louis. And these storms are going to be pretty much petering out by the time 8 a.m. comes for parts of Kentucky. So just kind of an idea of what's going to happen today. Definitely that severe risk is at play in multiple different areas here. And we're going to continue to outline our entire threat, which is going to be mostly here in New York, Pennsylvania, and into the Central Plains. Thank you guys so much for tuning in this morning. Always trying to keep people updated on what is going on with the severe weather coverage. We had quite a lot of damage yesterday up in Wisconsin. I've seen multiple reports of tornado damage. I really hope nobody was injured. That would be amazing. If nobody was seriously injured or killed, that would be definitely a blessing. There was a big tornado near Oakdale, Wisconsin yesterday. There's also a severe risk for parts of Ontario, Canada as well today, but I don't really cover Canadian storms. My software really only allows me to look at the United States. Biggest threat for tornadoes today, there is a 5% for extreme north part of West Virginia, very top counties of Virginia, and a 5% for upstate New York and into Pennsylvania for tornadoes. Largest threat is going to be for damaging winds and hail. Storms here fire off around 2 o'clock here, New York, Pennsylvania. These are going to be pushing out of the area probably around 7 or 8. And our threat here in the Midwest is going to be, well, Central Plains and Midwest, is going to be more of a threat for after 8 o'clock, and is going to be pushing out of the area probably around 4 o'clock in the morning. So, multiple areas of severe weather to cover. I'll be definitely trying to make it back this afternoon to at least cover portions of the severe weather threat this afternoon for parts of New York and PA. This is going to be our greatest risk, 5% chance for tornadoes in this area. We'll go over our entire risk area. This is going to be for areas like Pittsburgh, Rochester, Syracuse, Utica, and Iron Donkett. Pretty sure I said that incorrectly. I've seen golf ball size, but not much bigger. Golf balls can cause some damage for sure. Golf ball size hail can definitely do some damage. Good to see it, Eric. See, baseball size is about the biggest I've seen. That happened in 2016 near Weatherford, Oklahoma. That one blew out my back window, my front windshield, my mirror, and did a bunch of hail damage. I'm trying to remember. There was like $2,500 worth of damage to my car. It was not a fun night cleaning up all that glass. Columbus, Ohio could definitely be in that slight risk today. Definitely could have some chances later this afternoon for some severe weather. Kansas City, Missouri, St. Louis. Greatest tornado threat is going to be Pittsburgh, Buffalo, Rochester, Syracuse, and Erie, Pennsylvania. Could see the highest tornado threat today. Damaging winds going to be our highest threat for Pittsburgh, Rochester, New York, Utica, and Iron Dequoit. I don't know how to say that correctly in New York. Actually, I could look up how to say it correctly according to Google, because Google knows everything. Unrandacoit. Randacoit. Randacoit, New York. So that's going to be our biggest area for damaging winds. We also do have that enhanced risk for hail as well. Our largest area for hail damage is going to be in this red shaded area. This is going to be so our biggest threat for hail is going to be in Pittsburgh, Akron, Canton, Ohio, Youngstown, and Alapalooza. These are going to be some more enhanced thunderstorms, some more high top, 50, 60,000 foot supercells that could be dropping some monster hail. It's going to be 2 inches, 2-inch hail or larger hail threat for parts of Pittsburgh, parts of central Pennsylvania, even parts of extreme southern counties in upstate New York. also including areas like New Philadelphia, Salem, Youngstown, maybe even into Akron. It's telling me we're due for over 100 degrees straight temperature for, let's see, it's telling me we're due for over 100-degree Fahrenheit for a week coming into Oklahoma. I would not put it past. We've been, I think we're right up there here in Texas too. We've been unbelievably dry here in Texas. We completely missed out on our rainy season here in Texas. Come fall, I think that's going to change. But yeah, we're still going to be up in the 100-degree plus range here in Texas for the foreseeable summertime. Today is going to be 101, and then it's going to be right back into the mid 100s. Having another potential super bad heat wave coming for this Friday, Saturday, and actually starting about Thursday into Sunday. It looks like we're going to have another heat wave, and then maybe a chance for some thunderstorms next Monday and Tuesday. So we might get a derecho storm in Texas. I don't know if we're going to have that per se. But I mean, I definitely think we're going to get some pretty severe weather come fall. So I live in an area well known here called Flash Flood Alley, which encompasses actually it's the Oklahoma border. But the top areas in that threat zone. Oh, I think I'm frozen. Sorry, guys. I think my computer just tried to freeze on me for some reason. So from the I-35 corridor from south of Dallas to San Antonio is a very infamous area known as Flash Flood Alley. This area can get plagued with some very, very devastating storms. So it's something we're going to definitely have to watch out for coming this year. What is going on with my computer? I have no idea. I think my computer's just kind of overworked. Maybe that's the wrong word. Oh, dust. Yeah, we've had a couple of dust. The last thunderstorm that rolled through, that came down kind of like this from San Angelo. It kind of tracked down into San Antonio. We had some 70, somewhere upwards of 80 mile per hour winds that blew through. It was like 65 to 75 mile an hour winds that blew through parts of central Texas, and it created quite a bit of a dust problem. Your stream is fine. Oh, okay, perfect. Thank you guys so much for tuning in this morning, and it's kind of this morning's severe weather coverage. I do need to get to work here soon, so I got to get dressed and out the door here in the next probably 30 minutes. This wasn't going to be a super long stream. This was basically going to go and cover the severe weather potential. I might be live for about the next 20 minutes or so. But I do gotta get to work to work the lunch rush. But if you guys have any other questions regarding the severe weather this morning, see 5 of you on here on the stream. The biggest threat today is going to be for New York, Pennsylvania, maybe even into parts of Ohio from about 2 until 8 o'clock. And then again, another threat here starting late tonight, 8 until about 4 in the morning for parts of the Central Plains and Midwest. Yes, I will be streaming tonight. This was just kind of going to be a brief update of what was going on, and then I'll go live for the actual severe weather coverage. People are, I think, are getting used to me live stream. If you guys are new here, please consider subscribing to the channel. I am 3 away from 200 followers right now. If you guys would help, please share this out. Where do you think the Stratford severe weather? What time from Nebraska and Kansas? Nebraska and Kansas is going to start right around 8 o'clock this evening. Right near Geneva, coming into Lincoln, probably around 9, and pushing off into Kansas City, St. Joseph, probably around 11. So if we take a look at our timings here, it's only going to allow me to go a couple hours out, so I'm going to have to go back to the previous model. So if I go over, they're saying that it could be even around 11 o'clock. One model said 8 o'clock that it could form. Some of them are 11, so I'll have a better chance. I'll have a better knowledge of when it's going to start this afternoon. One model said it's going to be more active starting over here, so there is some model discrepancy, but the timings is going to be around 9 o'clock to 11 for the start of the thunderstorms. So we'll have to keep watching these forecasts here. Yeah, severe weather. The same setup from yesterday is pushing over here to New York, Pennsylvania, Ontario, Canada for severe weather outbreaks. Some relatively large hail could be forming in upstate New York today. Severe thunderstorm warning for Lancaster County in Pennsylvania. I don't see any current warnings unless they just issued that. Saw Philadelphia, that's my area. Yeah, so Philadelphia could be definitely in that mix today. These are not warnings, so this is going to be detailing the largest hail threat. We'll go into the entire severe weather block here. And this is going to be our greatest area for severe weather. Though I think it could extend all the way into parts of Ohio as well. Definitely some elevated hailstorms, some severe weather now moving into Montreal right now. And that's going to continue. Would not be surprised if we saw an extension of the enhanced risk over into parts of Ohio for the noon update. Yeah, that's NWS, State College, Pennsylvania. Yeah. Yeah, so this is going to be out of the National Weather Service and State College. Thank you guys so much for tuning in this morning. We're continuing to look at our threats here. I think it's really going to start. I saw some model agreements that it was going to start roughly about 2 o'clock. Take a look here one more time. There's noon, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. First storms fire off near Oswego, Watertown, maybe up towards Jamestown into the afternoon. Pushing off here, we really start to see these elevated thunderstorms producing some large hail, some possibly 2-inch diameter hail or larger. Some, like more elevated supercells. The convective available potential energy is going to be in between 2,500 and 3,000 joules per kilogram across this area today. We can take a look at all of the conditions for these areas here. Take a look at the best areas for our surface-based CAPE is going to be very high today. Coastal flood advisory. So we can see some of these 3,500 value, maybe 4,000 values closer to around Syracuse into the afternoon hours. So it's going to be feeling very, very uncomfortable. Right now, that really untapped atmosphere is sitting right near Oil City and Pittsburgh. Some areas close and over 4,000 joules per kilogram. And we're going to take a look at our most unstable CAPE. Yeah, and we're pegged. Cleveland right now has very high convective available potential energy in and around 4,000, close to 5,000 joules per kilogram at the highest levels. So we're also going to take a look at our shear. This is going to be showing the wind shear for this afternoon, and our wind shear is about 15 knots. Get into some of these 20 knot areas, maybe 25 knots at the highest. So it's not really conductive for, at least this morning, for tornado probabilities. And we'll take a look into the afternoon. Maybe we get some of these 30 knot areas up here in upstate New York into the afternoon hours start to get here, about 40-50 knots around Syracuse. That could lead to a little bit of directional shear, though I don't think it's going to be a major tornado issue. Hey, how's it going, fams? Paranormal. Thank you so much for joining up. I hope you're having a great morning so far. We're just taking a look at all of our weather conditions this morning. Like I said, I think New York is going to have the highest chance. We'll take a little bit higher up here into some of these storms into the afternoon hours, and there is going to be that chance for some strong mid-level shear over near Syracuse, New York, possibly towards St. Mary's and up near Richmond. So there is that possibility for mid-level shear. You want it to really be in that 60 knot range. We're going to have adequate moisture in the atmosphere as well as unstability. We also have some uh, pretty favorable directional shear, even though I think these storms are going to be more elevated hail threats. But there is that 5% chance for tornado probability. I'm doing good. I finally got about 10 hours of sleep, so I'm ready to roll. Um, we can take a look at our max updraft velocity. This is going to show us where the best chance of some supercell updrafts are going to be. Looks like very strong, right up in that area with that strong wind shear. So that could be our highest tornado risk area today. Is up there near Syracuse, Ithaca, Juanita. Thank you for that update there, because my system doesn't really show. It really is only for severe weather. So that's going to be our highest risk. There could be some other supercells that form near Cortland, also into PA near Towanda. We could also get some storms down here to Amity. So that'll be our pretty much our greatest risk for severe weather. These upscale supercells that develop here in parts of upstate New York. You're having a heat advisory in Florida. Yeah, it's hot everywhere right now. I think that's leading up to partially why we're having. Well, we have a La Nina set up right now, so very cold waters in the Pacific, warm waters in the Atlantic. Um, it's going to lead to more storms forming in the northern states, north of probably Kansas and north. You're going to have a lot more severe weather in the northern states during a La Nina type year. So, and it's going to be more drier, except probably Florida. Florida's always weather immune for La Nina. Tends to get a lot more. Could be a very strong hurricane season this year too. So we're taking a look at all of our risks. Strong thunderstorm will impact parts of Newcastle County and southern and Chester counties. It's down in Jersey. Taking a look right now. see much as far as there's one special weather statement there. This is over in North Carolina and Virginia right now. Stronger storms firing up here in parts of North Carolina. It's gonna be 91 degrees tomorrow in my area. Yeah, it's gonna be 102 today here in San Antonio, Texas. Totally hear you guys on that. This heat is for the birds. I like heat like for a couple days, and then I'm like, oh, I'm good, I can pass. But here, you're not gonna get cooler until probably late October here in Texas. I do really appreciate everybody tuning into these streams and getting these updates. I try to spread the word as much as I can. Try to keep people informed. Also share it out to my other YouTube channel here, since I only really use this channel to push my weather events anymore. So I'm taking a pretty indefinite break from the paranormal, exploring haunted and abandoned locations. I think my purpose is better fitted for storm chasing and helping people. Yeah, so these storms are going to be pushing. These ones here in North Carolina are going to be pushing towards the Outer Banks. Some of these are already pushing offshore. These ones are going to be more moving in a southeast direction. I think they're really going to dissipate by the time they come into Maryland and DC. Yeah. Southern Nassau, Queens County. Yeah, just continuing to monitor these conditions. We're looking at Dover, Delaware. There are some storms in and around the area around Delaware right now. And also parts of New Jersey. Have some storms moving offshore right now from in New Jersey. We also have some storms moving into parts of New Jersey. They're going to be coming right along the coast. Talking about the storms. Yeah, so the storms tonight for Missouri are going to be more into the early morning hours. If we take a look into our HRRR model and our NAM3 models, you really get into it won't be until late night till we get these storms that really fire off, maybe around Omaha. So I'm still on the updraft velocity. Let's see this here. So this is going to be firing off probably around maybe some storms here in Columbia, Missouri, firing off as early as 10 p.m. But I think the main wave is going to be in the early morning hours. Definitely could get some enhanced storms up here in parts of Missouri. Also, some stronger storms forming here in parts of Iowa that are going to be pushing further south. This will develop more into a line for areas like Omaha this evening, into parts of southern and central Iowa. And these will kind of just drift down, and they're going to be more cluster storms. Some of them could have some embedded supercells developing in them, some areas of larger hail. It's going to be more of a large hail probability and damaging wind probability. Hey, Londo, thank you so much for tuning back in. I hope you're having a great morning so far. But that is kind of my morning update, guys. These storms here in Missouri are going to be more firing off. It's going to be more of a damaging wind hail threat into the early morning hours. This could extend until about 4 to 5 a.m. as these push down towards Kansas City. Seen some model discrepancies. I'll know later this afternoon more of a real idea of what's going to happen with these storms. But definitely it could be a continued severe weather threat for parts of the plains and the Midwest. Yeah, yesterday was crazy. Yesterday was insane. I was like half awake for like 7 hours trying to detail that forecast, and do apologize. I ended up falling asleep for like 11 hours right afterwards. So issued by New York at the coastal flood advisory. So this is going to be a 2 o'clock to about 8 o'clock threat here across parts of New York, Pennsylvania, maybe into areas of eastern Ohio. Akron could definitely be added to this enhanced risk. I think there is that chance. We're going to have more of a late night threat for severe weather in and around this area. In between probably 11 o'clock, uh, I would say probably around anywhere from about 10 o'clock starting up in this area, and it's going to be pushing into these areas probably in the early morning hours, probably 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. So, hurricane warning? I didn't see any hurricanes. There might be a hurricane going off. I know we have a tropical discussion here going on in the Gulf of Mexico. So looks like right now there is a hurricane blast in the Mexico, off the Mexico side, and there's going to be another one that possibly develops. This is normal for this time of year. Also, this threat here potentially for the Gulf of Mexico. So, yep. So there is that hurricane threat right now. 189 millibar storm. Yeah, Category 1 hurricane. It doesn't look like it's going to be affecting anybody anytime soon, so really don't think we got to worry about any of those storms at the moment. So DC to see storms today. Could be a couple of storms in and around DC into the evening hours. I don't think it's going to be much of a severe threat. There could be an isolated severe threat this afternoon for DC. But as far as a tornado or severe thunderstorm outbreak going on for DC, it does not look likely. We'll take a look here. What's up, Radical Charge? Hopefully you're having a good morning this morning. Looking into Virginia, Baltimore, Maryland, DC. DC, you're in that slight risk area for severe weather. We can kind of take a look here at our afternoon forecast into the evening hours here. The best shot is going to be for storms probably around 4 o'clock in the afternoon, 5 o'clock. There could be some storms in between about 3 to 6 o'clock for your area, for Washington, D.C. That's probably your best time frame for possibly a strong or maybe isolated severe thunderstorm to move into the D.C. area. Could be some gusty winds, maybe some small hail. Just keep the watch going on that one. But I don't think it's going to be a major threat. Not like up here in upstate New York and Pennsylvania, maybe even parts of Ohio. Thank you guys for tuning in this morning. I do appreciate your support. We're going to have some damaging wind potential here today in New York and Pennsylvania. Like I said, maybe even into Ohio. This is kind of our future run of what these storms could look like this afternoon as they move through. This is our latest forecast models. I think there's going to be some isolated severe weather that forms, large hail, 5% chance of a tornado risk, and definitely have to continue to watch these threats today. I'll be live this afternoon, so it is 9:30. I got to get to work, so thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll be live probably around 4 o'clock and continue the threat over the next couple of hours after that. Should be really starting to pop off around 2. All depends on how fast I can get this work done today. I'll definitely try to be live from probably around 4 o'clock to around 7, maybe 8. So, but definitely detailing our severe weather threat for upstate New York. Our greatest chance is going to be anywhere from about Pittsburgh to Ithaca, Watertown, Potsdam, and that threat I do believe is going to also include parts of Ontario, Canada, Toronto, possibly. But Canada's got their own weather forecasters, so definitely